Welcome in to the Bro 4 Squad podcast, where we just chain smoked about 15 cigarettes and we looked badass doing it, just like Mahershala Ali. I am your host, Jeff Hornacek. Alongside me is the mad scientist, Brian Banner, and our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger. Thank you so much for checking us out. Oh,
Sorry, that was a high life.
But let me tell them what we're reviewing, Banner, and then you can belch again.
Okay.
We are here to review True Detective Season 3. I guess we'll just call it the premiere night episodes. It was episodes 1 and 2. The Great War in Modern Memory was episode 1. Episode 2 is Kiss Tomorrow, Goodbye. We are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies and TV. And if you have not checked us out before, thank you so much. We are jacked up to talk this show with you. We are here to review this TV episode, I guess, as we review all of our TV episodes on the 4 Bro 4 Squad TV criteria. The acting, the story, our favorite scene, and any theory or questions we have going forward, which I'm going to tell you right now, I'm about half drunk and I have copious notes on this show. That part, we're going to need you guys in the comments, because the great part about reviewing this so early is we have no fucking idea what's going to happen, but I guarantee you we're going to put our balls on the table and try to guess. So let's start with the acting and cast. To the aforementioned enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger. Matt, you just got done watching both these episodes, or I guess like one super episode. What'd you think? What were the performances like?
Ray Fisher, who was my boy Cyborg in Justice League. I mean, what he was in, he was fine.
I loved him in this.
Well, he didn't have too much meat on the bone. I mean,
There's more to come on him. There's gotta be.
You think he does pull-ups, though? Jesus.
Yeah, he's fucking huge in it, but he's Mahershala Ali's son in later years. We'll get to that in story. If you're watching this trying to get to know, maybe if you're watching this thinking you can just listen to this and go to episode 3, you're fucking mistaken. There's so much shit going on. But he was fine, and I'll leave the rest to you guys. But Stephen Dorff, he was in Immortals. I think that was it.
Because I want to talk about him too. I have fucking hated Stephen Dorff and everything I've seen him in. It's coming later in his life. I think he's like almost 40 or might be 40. This is going to have him take off because he's awesome in this.
What else is he in besides
Immortals? I don't know.
He's like a bit player. Banner, I'll let you do acting cast and then I'll give you the list. But he's like the 4th or 5th leading actor in a bunch of kind of okay movies.
Okay, because he's great in this. Fan-fucking-tastic in this. And I think it's because, well, his look, he looks like a more rugged, he looks like if Thomas Jane and Mickey Rourke from 1982 could fucking have a kid, it would be Stephen Dorff.
Yeah.
That's who he looks like.
Yeah, so here's what he's in. This is all brief. Star, Sex Guaranteed, Leatherface, Lifeboat, American Hero, The Debt, Heatstroke, a lot of fucking TV, man. Like, really nothing. But Mahershala Ali is bringing out it's like LeBron, bro. J.R. Smith can get a $60 million deal when he plays with him. Stephen Dorff, hit your fucking wagon to Mahershala Ali, because this dude's going to get you a paycheck.
But
I'm with
actually,
you. He was awesome.
You know, and if you checked out our Luke Cage movie commentary, there's some people that stick out that are terrible. First 2 episodes, man, acting and cast was fucking solid.
One thing this show has done through all 3 seasons, the story was a fucking mess in season 2, but there were still some good performances. Banner, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I had to say on acting and cast is Mahershala Ali, we all know he's a fucking stud. Like,
Beast.
Knocks it out of the fucking park. He is playing the same character at 3 different fucking timelines. This is spoilers. I don't know if we said that earlier. You figure that out from the trailer, but spoilers from here on out. He plays the same character in 3 different timelines and has to play it in 3 different mindsets.
Can we give him 3 Emmys for all 3 of the
He's basically doing his, like, Facebook 10-year profile pic, but he's doing it fucking 3 times in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is absolutely incredible. And I don't know when we could talk about this. We might as well talk about this now. The makeup that they did to make him look 70 years old, no shit,
God.
I think he's 70 years old.
Yeah.
Are we
It's
sure
incredible.
that that's not like a 70-year-old guy that looks like Mahershala Ali?
Yeah, did Doc come back from the future to film this with Mahershala Ali?
The Libyans! If he yells that, then we'll know.
Other than that, I think everybody did. I mean, like Iger said, nobody was bad. Everybody was good. Everybody did what they needed to do, maybe even a little more. I was super out on this show. I am fucking back.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I was out, but I was definitely like the girl who's like, I don't want to fucking talk to you anymore, Tom. And then
Text
Tom's
me.
like at the bar, and she's like, but like, what do you want to say?
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, win me back. I
Tom
gotta
went
give.
to the weight room in the summer.
She's like, go on, continue. I got to give one other quick shout out to a Justice League alumni and a guy that I've just always been a fan of everything he's in, Scoop McNairy, who played Tom in this, who is the father of the Purcell kids. In Justice League, he's the dude who gets paralyzed in the Metropolis attack. He's just a great actor, and his role in this, like, if you don't buy his character and his connection to his kids, it fucks up everything. The whole dynamic of like distrusting everyone and you know, the way Mahershala Ali, Roland, and Hayes come in and have to kind of piece together this family that was broken before this shit happened. If you don't buy his performance, it could fuck up the whole series. And I think one thing this does, when guys like him give these great performances on TV, it just continues to legitimize. We are in an era where doing a TV series is just as big of a fucking deal as getting a blockbuster movie. Like, it really is. You have just as many eyeballs on you, and you'll get just as much recognition for it. That's why you're able to get talent like this.
Mahershala Ali is going to win an Emmy for this, and 2 years prior to this, he won a fucking Oscar.
Yep.
He's insane. It's stupid.
And he's probably going to win an Oscar for Green Book for something. Best Supporting Actor. He already won a Golden Globe.
He should win Oscars for movies he's not even in.
He could have won an Oscar for fucking Hunger Games.
I don't think he's that good of it. I mean, that's impossible. All right, second category, on to the story. Jesus tits. Where do we start? The framing device is, again, so badass. It's back to season one. Go ahead and rip off season one if you have to in order to get this shit back on track, because that might be, aside from like season 4 of Dexter, my favorite season of TV ever. And it presents the narrative with so much suspense in this because things have resolutions, but we don't know what the fuck they are. Like, a character will reference, oh yeah, that got resolved, but we're like, but what the fuck happened? So right now, I suspect everyone. I'll just give you my quick highlights, and then we'll dive in. The note the family got.
Can I touch on the story real quick?
Please, yeah.
Okay, so there's three timelines going on right now, and I'll just briefly talk on all of them. In the 1970s in Arkansas, Mahershala Ali is a detective with Dorff. A guy, 2 kids were like, okay, a guy has 2 kids. They said, can we ride to the park? Yes, be home by 5:30. They weren't home by 5:30. They rode their bikes. They're not found anymore. The mom's kind of out of the picture. I think she's kind of on drugs, drinking, trying to fuck everyone in town. Now
she's allowed to have a life.
Yeah,
guys.
Rachel will be home, okay?
How many times did she keep yelling that? I'm like,
now there's 10 years later, Mahershala Ali. Pay attention to the haircut and the hair color to know what time you're even in. 10 years later, Mahershala Ali, they're calling him back in to re-question the case because they find out, spoilers, that the girl that they couldn't find is actually still alive.
Yeah, they found her prints at a gas station robbery in Sallisaw, Oklahoma, and they matched like to the point where they can confirm it was her.
So now you go present day with Mahershala Ali and Cyborg, who is Ray Fisher. That's his son. But Mahershala Ali is getting filmed almost like an O.J. Simpson crime case where, like, we're still so infatuated with this crime story because it's an unsolved mystery.
It's basically like filming a Dateline.
Or is it unsolved? We'll get to that at the end.
And then he has, like, some sort of dementia or something where he can't remember stuff very well.
The brilliant thing about the whole framing device of this is they're not trying to hide – like Westworld – they try and hide the fact that it's 2 different timelines. They aren't hiding the fact that it's 2 different timelines. They're basically telling, or 3 different timelines, basically telling you this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what's happening. And you're getting a little bit of the story piece by piece, but you're not really sure where it fits in because you're getting it in 3 different timelines. They're not throwing it in your face like, oh, it's a big twist. It's part of the story, which I think is brilliant. Right. So many movies and so many TV shows try to get you with that. And they're like, that's not what we're going to get you with, which makes me really excited.
And I'll just say this.
Go ahead.
One thing about
I just wanted to catch everyone up.
One thing about the story with True Detective that I think always helps as an audience member, you get more invested, is it is an anthology series. So we know pretty much definitively we will get resolutions to the questions we have this season. It's not going to be like Lost, where, or even, and I love the show, but granted I haven't seen season 2, but Westworld, where you're going to string us along. We're going to be so invested, and to the point where like I'm sitting at my TV counting down until it starts on Sunday night to see what happens, and maybe this doesn't get answered. With this framing device, we know definitively we will find out the answers to probably all of our questions, which is just so satisfying and helps you get so invested in the beginning because you know it's going to pay off in the end. And Geiger, you did such a good job of describing story. I really don't have much to add. Unless you do Banner, we can go to best scene.
Nope, I'm good with best scene. I got the little bit on the framing device that I wanted out. I also I lied. I do like how
fucking liar.
I do like how we see how Marshall Ali meets his wife when they're married and postpartum after she's dead.
Yeah,
I think
and we'll get into
that is
that
really
with
cool and really clever, and it makes me have so many questions like how did they get from meeting to married, and then how did she die?
Yep.
When did things start to fall apart? Did they? Yeah, we'll get to that all in questions and theories. So best scene, I'm going to say mine because I'm pretty sure everyone else is going to say it. I won't elaborate on it too much in case you guys want to talk about it. But Hayes tracking Will's trail through the woods, right? Finding the dolls. You realize he was a tracker in Vietnam. I think Roland says like, yeah, bro, they used to fucking drop him in a jungle by himself. He would wander off and 2 days later come back with scalps. I just said out loud, no one was talking between my girlfriend and I. Just go, Jesus. and so the guy's like, he's kind of weird wandering off. And Roland's like, why don't you mind your own fucking business? Sure enough, that scene, you know where it's leading. You know he's going to find something. And the whole time, I think I was literally like on the edge of my couch, like, Jesus Christ. That was my favorite scene. And then an honorable mention I have to give, Banner, you were just talking about this, but the scene with Wayne and Amelia talking at the bar in this, I believe it's the 70s or 80s flashback, the furthest flashback that we get. Basically, they're starting to kind of fall in love with each other. But I think the coolest thing that I found about it was in the midst of this really shitty situation. Obviously, the Purcell kids go missing and Will's already been found dead. They're both realizing that they need each other to not only figure this out, but get through it because they both have such different ways to contribute. Like the kids will say things to her that they won't say to him. And he can follow up on leads and get information, not only through his police work, but through his tracking skills that she can't. So there's no way, even regardless of their relationship, that we're going to be able to solve this if they don't work together. So that bar scene was awesome for me. Geiger, how about you?
Mine is probably the ending of episode 2. Whenever it's current day, and dude, I've watched some horror movies, and I'll have to lean on. Cycly's not here, but I was leaning on Hornacek, who is our horror connoisseur. That like almost scared me for some fucking reason. Where he's in present day, he's got dementia. He's a gray-haired old man, and he's just looking around to where I believe...
In the middle of the street, right?
Yeah, where I believe where the kids were taken. I believe that's the street where he was, like, dreaming about.
It looked like that cross street where the Volkswagen Bug had parked and watched them.
Yeah, and he doesn't know where he's at, can't remember anything, and I was just like, dude, that, like, almost kept me up last night. I'm just like, dude, that's fucking... That's more scary than Michael Myers coming in. Like, you don't know where you're at. You have no mind to know what to do next. And you know something bad happened here, but you can't remember it. And also, I think it had to do with Banner, the score, the setting. And
they don't use the score much, but when they do,
it was so perfect. It was the best scene, and it was in the trailer for a second, I know, but that was the best scene.
Well, you don't know what the context is, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what the context is, but it makes me that cliffhanger is better than being like, oh my god, actually she was a twin. That cliffhanger right there, there's no words or anything, makes me like, dude, I'm invested. I will watch fucking 10 more hours of this shit, guaranteed. It was a great scene.
One thing I loved, even though we knew we were getting both episodes back to back. I love this. They still fucking ended the first one on a cliffhanger, even though, like, if you were watching live, you get the second one.
I was just about to say that. They did a great job of, even though we got them in the same night, if you watch them not in the same night, you watch the first one, you're like, oh shit, I need to get another one in.
But you have to watch it
they ended that one with a bang, going, hey, we found the boy. This is crazy. How he found him using his nom skills. That was legit. And then they end the second one where you're like, they're not going to be able to top the first one. Like, we're invested now. They're going to get me for the third episode. And then they end it like that, and you're like, oh, my God, is it Sunday yet? I'm ready to fucking watch this. My best scene, Jeff, just like you, was how they ended the first episode, where he uses his nom skills. He tracks Will, finds the dolls, and he's sitting there in a fucking cave praying. Super creepy, super suspenseful. Like, okay, the stakes have now been set. We know what's up. We found one. We don't know where the other kid is. But I love this. This is probably my favorite scene in the movie. It was when, out of the 2 episodes, was when Hayes and the teacher and his partner were interviewing the kid who said, "Yeah, I saw the 2 kids. We went trick-or-treating together." And he's like, "Oh, what did you go trick-or-treating as?" And he said, "Luke Skywalker." And Marshall Ali pretends to opens up a lightsaber and does the noise like perfectly. Cool. What I liked about it is
great lightsaber noise.
It was a great lightsaber noise, but the whole show is super suspenseful and very dramatic and tense. That was almost a comedic moment, and it was very well placed and very well done.
Well placed levity,
to where you're like, okay, they can make light of things when they need to, and I really liked how it was, and it really broke the tension, and it needed to break when you've got these 2 hours worth of high suspense, high tension, high stakes shows. Hey, we can kind of make you giggle and make you smile for a moment.
That's a really great point, actually. Because, yeah, needing to take a breath every once in a while. God, I have so much shit I want to say about this. And that's why, like, again, please comment below or tweet at us at Bro4Squad, because we're just like you, man. We don't know what the fuck's going on in the show. We're curious as hell. I want your theories and opinions, because that brings us to the last one and my personal favorite category in our TV shows reviews: theories and questions. Banner, you're calling for the ball. ISO on the wing.
He's
Geiger,
wide open.
Set a fucking pick, Geiger.
I just
Banner,
set a pick.
All right.
It's a dirty one, though. If you get a foul call, then we lose possession.
So my theory this week revolves all around Mahershala Ali's wife in the show. And forgive me, I don't know the actress's name, and I don't really even know the character's name, but she's the teacher who writes the book. I have one of 2 things I think is one of like 3 things I think is going to happen with her.
And sorry, Banner, to interject real quick. The point of this, we will be, if you listen to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reviews, we are going to be wrong on 99% of these, but the point is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and it's way more fun to predict something and be wrong than just fucking sit on your hands, right?
Exactly.
So that's the Bro4Squad philosophy. Sorry to cut you off. Continue.
You're fine. The fans needed to know this. So 2 of these I had prior to going into the show. One of them I thought of as we're in this open forum talking about it. I think Mahershala Ali's wife either was killed by or somehow involved in the Purcell kidnapping/murder case, or she committed suicide. But while we were talking on the show, which I think is actually more likely to happen, I think she left Mahershala Ali later in life because of his obsession with the case. And that's why she is gone, and that's why there's tension between Ray Fisher's sister and the rest of the family.
Yeah. Geiger, before you jump in, let me just read my questions before my theories, because I always want your answer to these. All right. Okay. First question I have, and we can address these in any order or not at all.
The uncle questions?
No, these are mine.
Okay.
Maybe next week we can get some. The uncle and the peephole. The uncle and the peephole. That has to fucking mean something, right? And the cops didn't play their hand and tell their uncle that they found his peephole where he was spying on fucking 10-year-old Julie Purcell. Another one. Freddie Burns, that long-haired bully at the high school that either gets all the pussy or absolutely none of the pussy. It's not anywhere in between. They purposely show a scene where he's yelling at that other kid who talked to the cops with him in this playground, almost like, don't tell them what we know. So that's got to come into play, right, at some point. And then the last one I'll leave with is them playing with the bikes. Like they were playing with one of their bikes. Yeah. Probably Julie Purcell's bike, because you assume that it was Will's bike that we found in the river.
Yeah.
Are those red herrings? Like just, and I don't mean in the sense that like, oh, they're just throwing a shit that doesn't matter. But like any investigation, we go through with the cops. Are these things we find initially, but at the end, they're really kind of inconsequential, like they don't lead us to the murder?
So the peephole, I think, is going to play a big role. I don't know if
I think so, too. I just have a feeling that's going to be big.
but I don't know if it's the little brothers. I mean, when you're that young, I think
Fair.
the Playboys were the uncles. I think he said yes to those, but I think when you're that young, you might be,
And he could have been fucked up too. We don't know.
Yeah. Or who knows if the sister didn't do it, looking into the brother's room.
Well, they found the dust in his closet, so you assume it had been. And again, I could be wrong. You assume it had been.
But the sister could have went in his room to do it too.
I guess that'd be really calculated for a 10-year-old, but women, right?
I mean, when you're 10, though, think of all the crazy shit you did. The bikes was huge because I felt that wasn't really touched on at all.
Right.
And neither of the kids actually fessed up that, like,
have they found her bike yet? The cops?
No.
I don't think they have. Obviously, they found Will's in the lake.
It's just his.
But they they don't show us that shit for no reason, right?
Yeah, and the uncle, man, I think the uncle's a dead end. I really do.
It's too obvious.
I think the uncle is to throw us off the trail. I think
people could have been
the kids. I think the long-haired kid yelling at his friend they've got a good thing going. I think they're dealing drugs, and he thinks that he snitched on him for dealing drugs. And they stole the bike from the little kids. Has nothing to do with the kidnapping / murder. I think that it's to throw us off the trail as well.
Dude, when I was 15 and some cop asked me about a murder I had no clue about, I wouldn't answer one question because I'm like, dude, I smoked weed and drank beer underage last week. No, I have nothing to say to you.
So I have one theory I want to throw at Geiger, and then I'll let you get to yours, and then I have like 2 more questions I want us to talk about. My theory, and again, it's week 1. It's a fucking Hail Mary. I could completely, and that's our right, is to retract these next week if new information comes out. But I'm not afraid of being wrong. I think the governor, whoever it is, the guy that's the quarterback in the replacements before Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
I think he staged all of this as part of his election campaign.
Wow.
That's my thing. So there's going to be some sex cult or some pedophilia ring involved. He might be involved directly or not, but this is because he's already taking over the investigation. He comes in hot and heavy at that town meeting. He is somehow involved or has information about this, and he's utilizing it in tandem with his reelection campaign.
And he also is the one that took it to the media.
Yep, exactly. What better way, if he's the fucking hero, if he finds the Purcell kids. Now, whether he knows about Will being killed and Julie, obviously she goes disappearing. We don't find her till a decade later. Maybe those guys went rogue. But initially, my prediction is he was involved. Geiger.
So, Marshall Ali is very, very into this case. Like, he's even said during the time it happened, we'll just call it the 70s timeline, that he didn't sleep for a couple days knowing that. I just think that's because he's good at his job. But, I mean, the first scene, they're shown drinking Miller High Lifes just fucking off. Like, they're just like, I hope no one
shooting like raccoons or
Yeah.
squirrels.
No, only rats. They won't shoot a fox.
Well, first off, his daughter in present day, she's dead.
Really? But they keep talking about she moved to L.A.
Yeah, I think they're just telling him that because he has dementia. Just so he'll, like, when someone has dementia, you just kind of say, oh, yeah, Dad, maybe she'll, like, when someone has dementia, they will talk about a spouse that's been dead for 10 years and be like, where's your mother at? It's like, I don't know, Dad. She's not here right now.
Do you think that's why his son is getting so pissed off?
Yeah, it's just like, she's dead.
Henry?
And we've told him that before, but he can't cope with it because he has dementia.
Because
Right?
Henry has
She's
to
dead?
keep like reliving it every time his dad asks,
Yes.
right? That makes a lot of sense, actually.
And the dad will be like, no, that's not true. I just saw her yesterday. I'm like, yeah, but you have dementia. So yesterday was
20 years ago.
20 years ago. So I think she's dead. But to do you one further, I think she died because Marcel Ali was getting so close to whoever actually killed the boy and took the girl that that killer killed his daughter. And I think that this all connects to season 1 somehow.
I was just about to ask that. They reference season 1 for the first time ever. We know these are in the same universe. They reference the stick dolls.
I think that whole satanic thing that they're doing with
that's kind of cheap to me too, right? To have this
I
not
don't
be
think
able to
it's
stand
the
on its
same
own.
guy. I just think somehow it's. What
That
if
cult?
McConaughey went off crazy like after season 1 ended?
Or, I mean, that cult could be bigger than him. I think that's the fair thing about the premiere episodes is we don't know enough yet, but we want to make shots in the dark.
Yeah, and I'm not going to tell you this, and this happens. I'm just basically kind of throwing you off on a path to kind of think about this stuff. But I definitely think his daughter's dead.
I have another theory. I just thought of it. I think that Julie Purcell, the little girl that goes missing that they find 10 years later in Oklahoma, or her prince in Oklahoma, I think she kills Marshala Ali's wife. Because she wrote the book, and she got facts wrong, or she said something in there that pissed Julie Purcell off. So she went off and she killed maybe even his daughter as well, but at least the wife for writing the book.
But how is she alive, though? They could have killed the girl and just taken her fingerprints off and, like, had them on their hands.
It just seems like a weird thing to do a decade later at a gas station in Sallisaw, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And even weirder for the show to present to us in the premiere episode if she's not alive. So my question now is, this is the last question I have. In 2015 is where the furthest we get with the documentary. Yes. Two things about the documentary. And Geiger, this is something that you'll like because this is like something you would come up with. Is the documentary even real, or is either Henry Hayes, his son, Ray Fisher, Cyborg, using it, or the police department using it to try and jog his memories and help them solve the case? Is it fake? Is it set up, this premise of interviewing him about the case to try and jog up something to help solve it? And kind of in tandem with that, in 2015, like where we're caught up, let's call it present day, it's close enough. Do we know what has happened with Julie Purcell yet, or is that still an open end that is going to be resolved throughout the series? Or in 2015, is her story basically over? He's figured it out. It's a thread that's been tied up.
So do you think with 2 episodes to go, the 70s and the 80s version of the story are going to be done? It's just going to be current day, and he's going to have to get on the case and try to figure out where the fuck she is?
Or like he's remembered something. Like the way the way dementia works, you can have a memory like buried deep and you can't find it for whatever reason. Like he could figure that out, and that could be the way to lead them there. If there's still any open ends, whether it's Purcell, what happened to Will, how his wife was killed. I mean, we don't know yet.
I have goosebumps right now just thinking about it.
Yeah, I have a fear boner right now. Banner, you want to say something? What is it?
I don't know. Like, there's so many questions, and this is what I loved about the first season is I am reliving when I watched the first season. When I watched the second season, I was like, I'd never felt this way, and it's relieving to feel this way and have all these questions and have literally every theory that we have had. I can't come up with anything that can debunk them at this time. Right. Obviously, next week we're gonna get a little bit more piece of the puzzle. At first, when you said your theory about it's a fake Dateline episode or whatever, no, that's bullshit. The more I think about it, I'm like, why is it bullshit though?
Yeah,
and I can't answer that.
As a way to like fluidly have him recall the memories without him sitting in a fucking, because you can tell in the is it the 80s or not? It's the 90s, right? The middle
one's like 90s, yeah.
Well, when he's sitting there in the interrogation room, clearly he's on edge. He's frustrated. He's not remembering things well. So that environment is not conducive to triggering these recalls from him.
Well, and then they made a statement of, after the deposition, you left the force. So we know pretty quickly after that 90s interview, he's no longer a detective, but he still knows shit.
Something happens where he's like, take my badge, but don't take it, Jesus.
I have a family.
God damn it. I don't know. I feel like
this is going to be a wild ride. I think this story, just after 2 episodes, has way more layers than even season 1. I don't know if it'll be as good as season 1, but it has way more layers for sure.
But I'll say this.
Season 1, you had basically 2 Marshala Ali's. You had Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. Season 2, we only have Marshala Ali at this point. I'm not saying somebody can't rise to the occasion, but we went into season 1 knowing those 2 dudes are heavy hitters. This season, we only have 1 heavy hitter.
Count Stephen Dorff as like your David Tyree or Robert Horry, a guy who's a role player, but he could make a big fucking play in this series. And also worth noting, and again, this is a Hail Mary, but they've referenced season 1. And guess who's listed as an executive producer in the credits? They make a point to do it.
Jeff, I have an answer. Is it Matthew McConaughey?
Correct, but also who else? Woody fucking Harrelson. So both of them are involved at least enough to throw their name on this. If one of them pops in, I don't know, man.
They did kind of throw that in your face at the end, didn't they?
I don't mind it, though.
It's connected to season 1. His daughter's dead, and I believe the killer killed the boy, the girl, and Marshall Ali's daughter. That's why he's so invested.
Dude, who's to say like Steven Dorff can't be like fucking Harrelson's brother or something? I mean, Jesus tits. Let's fucking go. Alex English, if you're listening to this, text me. Give me your theories.
Arkansas is not that far away from Louisiana.
Definitely not,
They
dude.
share a border.
Absolutely. But text me your thoughts. I'd love to read them on the next pod. Please comment below. We have been the Bro Force Squad podcast. For the Enforcer in the Paint, Matt Geiger, the Mad Scientist, Brian Banner. I'm the Mayor, Jeff Hornacek. Guys, this is going to be a fucking awesome season. True Detective is back. Let's talk about it. Follow us on Twitter at Bro4Squad. Check us out on Letterboxd, Bro4Squad, 3 words. You can type that same thing into iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube and find us. Subscribe and comment below. We want to talk with you about this and check out everything that we are doing on our website at Bro4Squad.com. We'll see you guys Sunday night as we're all sitting on our couch live watching, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
I'm so fucking confused.
God damn it. I
love it.
Reviewing this is like therapy for me. It's like I need to get this shit off.